Everyone. I am Connie, and I'm so happy to be here with Carmen. We are both going to be attending Mid America Hypnosis Conference that is coming up in just a couple of weeks. It's scheduled for October 17, 18, and 19. And if you don't have your ticket yet, there's still time, and it's definitely the conference to be at. But Carmen, I went through the schedule and I was looking already, deciding where did I want to go and who do I want to learn from. And when I came across your topic, it really, really intrigued me because I know you're such a fabulous speaker. You're very well versed in everything that you do. And this year you're deciding to talk about identity architecture. So what does that mean exactly?
Thank you, Connie. Well, identity architecture means a lot of things. When somebody comes to us and they want to make something better, whatever it is, it doesn't always have to be trauma. Sometimes it's just executive type of work, relief stress and everything. Everything has to do with identity. And identity is not your driver's license, passport, your story, your name, or anything. That's not it. Identity is a complex mechanism that makes up who you are and what moves through you.
Mm.
And that changes over time. It is not a fixed mechanism. And because it's so complex, identity architecture takes so many pieces to put together. But I don't get stuck in the details of all of the modalities, right? So through my metacognition therapeutic design that I developed in the past 12 years, it's called Feelfulness. This ended up being about identity architecture. And why me? Well, there is a little bit of ease added about identity for me to talk about identity because I'm bilingual. So which am I? Am I Romanian or am I American or am I both? And when am I this and when am I that? And it can be confusing because
Yeah.
I moved to the United States 35 years ago. And I went to a defragmentation of identity. Anything that I knew to exist, to be good, to be right, to be valuable, it didn't match because I
Right.
came up from a different cultural background. It was a communist. I grew up in communism, right?
Yeah.
So things were different over there, right? But through my developing this meta conscious therapeutic design, it ended up being about identity. And I kept talking about identity without me knowing that this was going to be developed into a system.
Right.
But because identity is architecture, we need architecture to put together the person, right?
Mhm.
Because everybody's identity is fragmented. And we can think about Carl Jung's individuation, but not only that, because even that Carl Jung individuation, it is difficult for some people, especially shadow work. It's difficult for some people, but through the metaconscious design, feelfulness, feeling by choice, that shadow work, you don't even do shadow work and the shadows begin to disappear and integrate. And this is fascinating. This is something I went through. I went through it. So everything is through the experience that I've experienced. I put the system together.
I love that. That's fascinating. As you're talking, it makes me think a little bit about, our model of the world, but also our personal values as well. But then it also makes me think, I've always heard, luckily from a young age, so I have tried very hard to not do this myself, but they say to not glom on too much to an identity, because if that thing goes, what happens to you, right? But when you said that about moving here from another country, that you embodied that, you lived that.
Yes, and not just through that. And but what's fascinating about identity work, that you're right, you don't want to hold on to the story of who you think you are, because who you are, of course, there are pillars to who you are. Your identity doesn't change overnight, right? But understanding that identity, there is a fluidity to it and begins to change and eventually changes, right? um, for example, like a mother, when she has a child, she needs so a couple of years, maybe up to 5 years, to um, not get back, but to inhabit her new identity. It's
Yeah.
not, it's something not very simple, not many people talk about. um, but every identity has a few basic platforms. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live at, doesn't matter your values, your beliefs, none of that matter, because with the neural language that I developed, the very basic level of identity, I can pinpoint it down to capable, certain, and curious.
Oh,
And as I say these words, you've already had experiences going through, right?
yep.
Everybody. And this is the power of metaconscious design.
I love that. That is fascinating. So, thank you for sharing that and all that detail with me. It excites me even more to listen to your talk. Uh, and so, at your talk, what will be one or two things that people are going to walk away with?
Oh, they're going to walk away with a lot. In addition to my presentation, I'm going to take everybody through a metacognition exercise. And metacognition has a lot to do with how you allocate your attention point.
Mm,
Because attention, focus, concentration, observation, four different things, and very few people know about that. But in the presentation, I'm going to bring in the neuroscientific findings. Um, a lot of us might talk about the identity through the spiritual work, which I've done a lot. I have a lot of training, and I also train and certify other people in the spiritual as well as hypnosis, like you do, and then fearfulness, definitely. But we are so gifted with neuroscience that now gives us insight of what happens neurochemically when
mhm.
we experience, when we have an experience. And more so, it is fascinating. You can find it on YouTube. They develop a helmet that has many what you call that thing is that stick out to the brain, where they get to measure not brain waves, because that it's all news. When a client is it's given certain words are important, right?
Oh,
Certain areas of the brain light up.
yeah.
And this is fascinating to see, because you see this in real life fMRI, and it's all colored. Well, I already knew that, but
Mhm.
I'm happy to see that this can be shown through neuroscience. In with In our world, in our circle, you hear a lot of people talking about the amygdala, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a little tiny thing. There's so much more happening. The
Right.
amygdala, with hypnosis, we learn to train the amygdala to move from reaction to response, right?
Mhm.
Which is doable. But then there is the hippocampus. Who talks about the hippocampus? I do. And hippocampus is this is where the memories are stored. And
Mhm.
when we work with trauma, when I work with trauma, I work on this memories in the hippocampus to remove them from there. And with alchemical regression, it's just magical happens. But then we have the insula. Insula tells you how you feel in the body. It's very
Mhm.
important to feelfulness, and not just how you feel emotionally, mental, emotionally, but physically how you feel in the body. Um, but then we have basal ganglia. Basal ganglia kind of covers all of the limbic system. If you can imagine your brain, it kind of covers
Mhm.
all of it. But in basal ganglia, what happens in basal ganglia, everything gets registered that as a habit. This is where the cognitive restructuring we have in basal ganglia. So don't get bored just yet.
No,
Then,
I love talking about all of this.
okay, not just yet, not just, but
We
then,
can geek out together.
yes, then we have the prefrontal cortex. So we need to involve the prefrontal cortex, the thinking and choice. We choose a thought and we choose a feeling, a particular feeling, which is, I demonstrated earlier, capable, certain, curious.
Mhm.
Um, and then we work with it, and working with this experience, it goes straight to the heart of who you are, to your identity. And taking this neural language, we architect the part of your identity that needs to be rebuilt and re-architected. This is just amazing work.
Yeah, how fabulous. And so did you say you've been working on this for 12 years, or you created this 12 years ago?
Yeah, I've been working on this for 12 years. Here's a big book. This is a third edition and final edition. This is big.
Yeah.
So, but it's not just the book. It's not, I needed to write the book to have it be known out there, because before the book I was teaching this in workshops, but back
Yeah.
then when I started, I didn't know this is a system. I didn't know this was about identity. I know that what my experience was, I knew what that's doing to the subconscious, what that's doing to the past of past experience, whether they were hurts or not hurts of who you are. I didn't know that. People ask me, what is this? And I say, well, it's a thought feeling practice. Well,
Right.
we do take a thought with a feeling and we practice. And as you do that, you re-architect, you reintegrate your identity, you bring back all of the fragments. And I'm going to tell you why.
Mhm.
Everybody says, mindfulness included. And this is what bothered me about mindfulness. I say, well, you have to feel the feeling. You have to be in a state, you have to feel the feeling, then it's going to happen. And for the longest time, I went, yeah, 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 I know, yeah, you're right. And then I keep hearing it. It's big orders, like big names. And after a while, I go, wait a second, you keep saying that, but you are not showing us how. And I already knew how.
Yeah.
And I got a bit insulted. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit. And then I was still working on how am I going to name this. And mindfulness, when there is feelfulness, this is
Yeah.
what everybody wants from life, to feel good. So here it is, feelfulness.
I love that. You know what I love about it so much is you took a personal experience and the concepts around that, right? And then you really develop something with massive depth. That's what I love about this. No wonder you've been working on this for 12 years, because I can see the long legs on this.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and I like it too, because, a lot of times, sometimes in some communities, there's all these buzzwords and, here's the new thing that we're talking about now. and they kind of come and go like the clouds, right?
Mhm.
But I like that you're covering all of these areas of the mind, because you're right. They're all in our mind because they all serve a purpose and they're all just so connected. And so to just talk about one thing and discount the others, or maybe not even discount, but not to even mention them, that doesn't do it justice. So no, I was geeking out as you were talking. I was like, feed me more.
Correct. You are so, you got it. Because what that is neuroscience, that is the neuroscience of thought, that is
Mhm.
neuroscience of emotions, and there's neuroscience of feelings.
Yeah.
In English, we mixed up the emotions with the feelings too often, and we
Yeah.
use the word feelings instead of emotion, and emotion into feelings, and that needs to be straightened up.
Yeah.
And I am me bilingual, I'm straightening up. In my language, in my native language, we have different words. An emotion has a word and feelings has a word, and then we have an additional two or three additional words, because in my language, feeling talks about an experience, right?
Yeah.
But so there is neuroscience of thought, neuroscience of emotion, neuroscience of feelings. Then there is the history of psychotherapy, the history of psychology. Then what happened before that? Well, before that, that was indigenous tribes, there was shamanism, and then there's alchemy. And then what do you do with that? Because this helps you, it teaches you how to generate a state of being. But then there's archetypes.
Right.
Archetypes are important because archetypes are not personality. Archetypes are experiences. And then we go to neurolanguage, to metacognition, and then how to generate a state of being. And I'm not going to keep it too long, unless you want to ask something.
Well, just hearing you say all that, then it's like, and that all comes back to our identity, right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
the path walks us all back to that identity. Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that. I have to tell you, there's no mistake on timing with things. I told you earlier, I had a brunch today with some girlfriends, and I was sharing with them something that a Buddhist monk told me years ago, who speaks several different languages. And he said that, and you can fact check me on this because you speak different languages more than English. And he shared how in the English language, we have one word for love. So I say, I love my cat. I love my husband. I love my children. I love this time with you. And so it's the same word, but they all have a different variation or a version of love. But in other languages, they have different words for that. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And because of, and another, what an additional thing to the English language that works directly to the identity is the I am.
Yes.
I am sad. I am happy. I am tired. I am I am. And then when you say I am, it goes straight to your identity. In other languages, you don't necessarily use the I all the time. It's just the way you conjugate the verb, you're just doing something. Right? It's not like I am walking.
Right.
It's like am walking. It doesn't make sense in English, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I hope you're talking for like 5 hours during this conference. It needs it for the depth that you're going to provide. But you said you're going to have like an experience or something like that. So that'll probably help get to some depth as well, I would assume.
Yeah. I'm gonna try my best to condensate my presentation, but let me tell you where identity architecture eventually gets to. So we get to neurolanguage after we learn so much about neuroscience and psychology and meta psychology and depth psychology and archetypes. Then there is neurolanguage. Neurolanguage, like I offered earlier, one word speaks to an experience. And you already know that in hypnosis, we are very careful of what words we use and how we combine it into a sentence to provide the medicine to the client. So once we learn to generate a state of being. So when you generate a state of being, you generate a little bit an aspect of the identity, right? You are. So you become that through the neural language. You take a thought and a feeling and you generate a state of being. And after that, and after some practice, I want you, the practitioner, to become the medicine the client needs. And it's like, what do you mean by that? Well, you're going to generate the state of being that the client needs, regardless of what state of being you have right now. Now,
interesting.
It is. It's an advanced skill, but this enriches you so much. It takes a little bit of time to learn the skills because metacognition and then meta emotion. Metacognition it's like what happens behind the cognition, and meta emotion what happens behind the emotion. So you develop these skills that are just, they're simple. When we get to the practice, everything is simple and playful and joyful. It's not as many complicated words as I'm throwing over here. But once you learn to generate a state of being, then you as a practitioner, you learn how to transfer therapeutic consciousness.
I love that.
Yeah,
That is fabulous.
yes. So this is the evolution of therapeutic methodologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can just as you're talking, I can just imagine, nice hypnotic word. I can just imagine how useful this could be for a massive variety of clients.
Yes, I every client I work with, I do identity work,
Yeah.
and once I sometimes like with trauma, I'm working with some right now with clients that they have like really deep seated trauma. You can even your brain explodes when you hear what happens. So I do a lot of alchemical regression. And up to some point, there is just so much to go remove from the hippocampus, because then you have to, what do? I start identity work and then it just flips.
Hmm.
They flourish immediately, and it changes. And then other people tell them, they say, wow, you changed, and they're happier. So yeah.
And I can see that because just as you were talking there, because that feels tangible, right? It's
Mhm.
that word identity and everything you explain behind it just feels tangible. I
Mhm.
like that. The vast majority of the clients I see, kind of regardless of the reason, not always, but I talk about their values, about their personal values. And
Mhm.
so that's why this is really resonating with me because I mean, they're different. They're different things that we're talking about, but there can be a similar vein running through here. So yeah, I'm very intrigued. So I'll be excited to listen to this.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
So we're going to, what are we going to present? We're going to present here at Mid America.
Yep.
We're going to present here at hypnosisconference.org. Everybody get your ticket. You have 3 different levels. Get any one of them. You will get a lot out of this. Here's a schedule. You get to choose from over 100 presentations. And right here on Friday, here I kick off Friday, you get to see at 3 p.m. You're going to see me here. You click on this and you get to see my smile over here. And right here again, Friday, 3 p.m. And this title, Identity Architecture. And you see I'm taking this from the self-unit client. And why you should attend, what you're going to get, and then a little bit about me. So that's that. I look forward to seeing everybody there. And I'm going to have a vendor booth. I'm going to have an exhibiting booth, and I'm going to bring my books and my trilogy, creating his trilogy, and then I'm going to also have my essential oil products, which I have some special. I have some special formula. So stop
Beautiful.
by my booth.
Yes, that's great. Well, and I look forward to seeing you. So,
All
because
right.
on top of being such a great educational conference, it's such a great networking opportunity. But this group
Yes.
is so fun. It's the
Yes.
best. It's the best community, and
Yes.
I just look so forward. It's almost like a coming to a class reunion or a family reunion. I'll
It
say family.
is. It is. It is. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It is. It is definitely.
So
All right. So thank you. I'll see you there, and I'll see everybody there. And come see my presentation and Connie's presentation, and you're gonna walk out enriched.
love it. Thanks so much.